This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, hello, hello there. It's Jeff Gunner Don. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, May the 18th, is a former agitator, if you will. He was a good defenseman from 83 to 2000. He been coached in the AHL as an actor and an enforcer. Unfortunately, his career ended with one of the most terrible plays in NHL history. Not the worst bit of violence in NHL history, but one of the worst. Anyway, he's 60 years old today. His name is Marty McSorley. McSorley would play hockey, would like to play hockey. So, it doesn't really say where he played his junior hockey, unless I'm mistaken. Well, anyway, oh, here we go. He played for Belleville in the OHL for a couple years, but he was undrafted. Amazing that he was undrafted. No one wanted to take him in like in the 8 rounds and all that. But anyway, he made his debut with Pittsburgh. And then Pittsburgh traded him to Edmonton in September of 1985. So that was the trade that sent Craig Mooney alongside McSorley to Edmonton for Gilles Meloche. Gilles Meloche played for Edmonton? That's impossible because I'm like, that does not sound right. That he was traded, that he was Edmonton or he was just there. Oh, yeah, he played for the North Stars and then his rights were traded to Edmonton. And Meloche would be traded to Pittsburgh to get Marty McSorley over. Anyhow, McSorley's arrival and physical presence was huge. And he took over the spot of Wayne Gretzky's bodyguard from Dave Semenko. So McSorley was rough and tough and all that. And then, after a couple of years and a couple of cups with the Oilers, he was traded to LA in the Gretzky trade and all that. Remembering that, we gotta remember the Gretzky trade, that he, Gretzky, and Krushelnyski went to LA for Jimmy Carson, Martin Jelena, LA's first round pick in 89, first round pick in 91, and also in 93, and 15 million smackers. Because, Edmonton was hemorrhaging money for some strange reason. The Gretzky trade almost didn't happen for a number of reasons. One, the Canadian government thought that maybe you can't trade away Canada's best export to the States. And number two is that, unbeknownst to people, Gretzky actually personally asked for McSorley to be traded to LA with him, or else the trade wouldn't go. And so McSorley did. So McSorley and Gretzky both were in LA. He had bruising style. He was a fan favorite, but he wanted to improve his game. He didn't want to be an enforcer, but he got his hard work ethic and his fine team play, his articulate intelligence off the ice. McSorley would lead all defensemen in shorthanded goals with 3. So yeah, it's funny how, McSorley tried all that. McSorley and the Kings didn't do much in the playoffs until 93 when they shocked everybody. They took out Calgary, they took out Vancouver, they took out Toronto, and they took out Montreal. Well, they took on Montreal, I should say. Now, everyone remembers this 93 moment more so than his problems in 2000. But still, yeah, so after the Kings somehow got to the Cup Finals, in Game 2, with the Kings up 1-0 and 2-1 on the scoreboard, it looked like the Kings were going to be halfway home to the Stanley Cup. Unfortunately, Jacques Demers called Kerry Fraser over and wanted a stick measure of McSorley's stick, thinking that it had an illegal blade and all that. Now remember, if McSorley was guilty of this crime, he and the stick would be sent to the box for 2 minutes. However, if Demers was wrong, Montreal would get a 2-minute delayed game penalty, and that would have been the icing on the cake. But fortunately, for Demers and the Habs, he did that. It worked. Unfortunately, McSorley was in the box when Desjardins scored to tie the game at 2, just before the end of the third period, and then Desjardins, within a minute, scored to make it 3-2. McSorley put up 10 points in the playoffs and actually scored in Game 5. The only King to do so. And a lot of people said that McSorley was the second best player on the Kings in the playoffs after Wayne Gretzky. I mean, you could say Kelly Rudy, but Rudy actually struggled, and Rob Stahlberg got a few wins that year. Surprisingly, LA would trade him to Pittsburgh for Sean McEachran. Kind of a weird move. But, ironically enough, he was back home in Pittsburgh. So he played 47 games for Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, he was traded back. The Penguins traded him back to LA alongside Jimmy Pack for Sean McEachran and Thomas Sandstrom. Can you believe it? The Penguins trade Sean McEachran to LA for Marty McSorley, and then they trade McSorley back to LA for McEachran and also Thomas Sandstrom. Sorry, Sandstrom. The funny thing is, McSorley was one of the guys who assisted on Gretzky's 802nd career goal to break Gordie Howe's record. And anyway, McSorley would be traded in '96 to the Rangers alongside Yari Curry for Ray Ferraro, Matthias Nordstrom, Nathan Lafayette, and the fourth-round pick. Nordstrom would become a Kings icon for defenseman. McSorley played 1 year for the Rangers, the '96 season. No, he completed the '96 season, and then in the offseason he went to San Jose, spending 2 injury-plagued seasons with the Sharks before going to be a free agent with the Oilers. And it was like, wow, amazing. Unfortunately, he didn't want to stay long for the Oilers and signed with the Bruins. So he was with the Bruins. Unfortunately, his career would come to a sudden end just 2 months after signing with the Bruins. Bruins and Canucks were battling each other. McSorley was trying to goad Brashear into a fight because they already had a few fights. But McSorley swung a stick and hit Brashear in the head near the temple. With 5 seconds left, Brashear fell backwards and hit his head on the ice, losing consciousness and suffering a grade 3 concussion. Then the Canucks really went after McSorley and wanted to destroy him. McSorley would be suspended for the rest of the 99-2000 season, including the playoffs. So, Bruins didn't make the playoffs, so McSorley got a 23-game suspension, one of the harshest in NHL history. October 6, 2000, the Provincial Court of BC said that he was guilty of assault with a weapon for his attack on Brashear. So he got an 18-month probation after that. His NHL suspension would be extended to make it 1 full year through February 21st, 2001. However, McSorley would actually never play in the NHL again. That was kind of critical. He would appear in 14 games in the IHL and retired. But he wanted to play in the UK for hockey because his oldest brother was coaching. But the International Ice Hockey Federation basically said, no, you can't do that. And he tried to go to Germany, but it failed. McSorley actually wanted to be a player coach and develop interest in hockey in the UK by purchasing the Cardiff Devils, but it failed. McSorley for a few years would would coach the AHL with Springfield. McSorley would actually be in small roles in some movies. Bad Boys and Con Air. McSorley for a few years would provide color commentating for the Sharks. Unfortunately, there were some issues. All that. So anyway, he was part of Pros vs. Joes in 2008. And actually occasionally makes analytic stuff for Sportsnet and Hockey Night in Canada. And usually comes to the Staples Center to watch Kings games. McSorley currently resides in Hermosa Beach, California, marrying a beach volleyball player and having 3 children. Well, he won 2 Stanley Cups in 87 and 88. He played 961 career games, 359 points, but his penalty minutes made much more difference. 3,381 penalty minutes, one of the highest ever. In fact, let's see. He's number 4 all time. He's only behind Tiger Williams, Dale Hunter, and Ty Domi. So McSorley just ahead of Bob Probert. When I look at the top 10 all time, Rick Tocchet seems to be the best goal scorer. Well, Dale Hunter had his moments too, but all that. And I do believe none of the players are actually current players, which is funny. But yeah, McSorley was the goon of everything else. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.